Welcome to Interactions between Engineering Student Researcher Identity and Epistemic Thinking. My name is Lisa Benson. I'm from Clemson University. I'd like to acknowledge my co-authors Courtney Faber, Rachel Kaifas, Molly Kennedy, Dennis Lee, and Kazembe Kennedy. Students see learning in the classroom as being very different from learning in other environments, for example, undergraduate research. Is there a way to help students think more deeply about knowledge and knowing in the classroom, similar to how they think about knowledge and knowing in research environments? This project explores the interactions between how students identify with being a researcher and their ideas about knowledge, or their epistemic thinking. This project is part of a larger NSF-funded project called Student Perceptions of Researcher Identity and Transformed Epistemology, or SPRITE for short. The project goals were to increase access to the benefits of undergraduate research experiences by investigating those experiences from the student perspective, and to understand aspects of those experiences that support students' development of identity as a researcher and their epistemic thinking. To summarize our SPRITE project, we surveyed over 100 engineering students who were undergraduate researchers from 4 different types of universities. We asked them about their researcher identity and about knowledge in general, and invited them to participate in follow-up interviews. Through our 3-phased mixed methods grounded theory study, we developed a model of how researcher identity and ways of thinking about knowledge are related. Our data analysis was guided by 2 frameworks: epistemic thinking, which involves evaluating, generating, and justifying knowledge, and identity. Our model is called the Dynamic Researcher Identity and Epistemology Model, or the DRIEM. It includes researcher identity and recognizes that everyone has other identities as well, including aspirational identities, what we think we might be in the future. The research experiences that students have include the things they do as well as their social interactions. Through their research experiences, they develop knowledge about research and researchers. This includes who a researcher is, what they do, and what research is all about. This knowledge and experience can both inform their identities and be influenced by them. The dotted lines in the model around these identities, experiences, and knowledge bubbles show that they are grouped, but they are dynamic and changing. The dotted line arrows represent metacognitive practices, such as reflection, that allow students to process their own experience and knowledge. This is a dynamic model, meaning it changes with time and experience. If students only needed to do research to feel like researchers, the model would only be the bubble on the right side. Have a research experience, build your researcher identity. But it's more than that. It's complicated. Researcher identity involves reflecting on that research experience and processing the knowledge you're building through that experience and your knowledge of research and researchers. So it's a process of reflection. Here are the main takeaways from our model. Students' initial dispositions and beliefs about research influence their perceptions of researchers and themselves as researchers. That's their researcher identity. Researcher identity can dissolve or solidify through undergraduate research experiences. Researcher identity affects and is affected by students' reflection on their research practices. And finally, social interactions and context shape knowledge of research and researchers, researcher identity, and interest in research. How do we propagate our findings beyond the research environment? In other words, how can we reach our project goal of increasing access to the benefits of undergraduate research experiences by translating those benefits to classroom environments? We conducted research with practice workshops to generate ideas about course activities that mapped to our model. And what did we learn from our workshop participants? Well, reflection was inherent in nearly every example they generated. This is no surprise. Research isn't just the action, it's also important to reflect on the knowledge involved with those actions. Here you can see some examples of the ideas that our workshop participants generated to explicitly prompt students to reflect on on things that embody what a researcher does, the social interactions to build knowledge, and how research works. On behalf of the SPRITE team, I want to thank you for your attention, and please come visit us during our session and ask us questions.